A win for Bobby Barnett or somebody else further back in the pack. Kelsey Croston puts the green flag up. She waves it around, and we have got a little bit of an accordion going as a Deason and Barnett will set the pace for this one. Kelsey give it another try. She puts the green flag in the air. Bob Barnett gets a good jump. Deason on that outside line, and Toby Ott immediately to the top of the racetrack, trying to make it a 3-car race as they head down the back stretch. Deason to the outside of Barnett as he is bottom feeding at the bottom of the racetrack. The 27 bounces through turn number 4, and the 1D gets a good run off of turn number 4, and Daniel Deason leads us around through lap number 1 of 20.
Boy, Deason was just so good during that heat race, but here comes Ott. He gets a great run off the top side of turn 2, and he is just lurking back in the weeds trying to figure out which line to take. Take that high line and follow Deason, or go to the inside with Barnett.
Looks like Ott's going to carve out his own line around the top of the racetrack, drops in behind the 1D, and now tries to get a run on the 27 as the two 27s go side by side through 3 and 4, and Ott tries to take the second spot away from Bob Barnett. He will have a nose advantage as they come to the flag stand, work their way around. Deason lead him around here, followed by the 27 Ott, and Toby Ott will clear Bob Barnett this time. Bob will get a run to the inside of turn number 3 now and try to take the spot back.
Deason just continues to hold his line, and now Ott, sandwiched between Barnett and Deason, dives to the inside, cuts off the nose of Barnett, so he drops back to 3rd, and now Ott trying to find a way 4 laps in to pick himself around the 1D.
Derek Brown started in 6th. He's moved his way up to 4th right now as he is right behind Bob Barnett, who started on the front row. Ott goes back to the outside now and sees if he can get a run on the 1D of Daniel Deason. Cars starting to spread out now, back further in the pack. Barnett staying at the bottom, Ott in the middle. Deason goes to the top of the track off turn 4. Now Brown gives Barnett a little bump as they work their way down the front chute.
Well, I'm not sure if Brown gave Barnett the bump or if Barnett just decided to dive to the inside across the nose of the 11. Looked as though Brown had that line and Barnett just took it away.
Trying to chop off the nose of the 11. They'll be side by side again as they enter turn number 1. Daniel Deason still leading the crowd with your midseason point champ, Toby Ott, behind him. Toby Ott, who's been to victory lane not once but twice already this year. James Flood now trying to put a move on the 27 from Republic, Missouri. And Flood, nose clip gone, hood gone. Car still runs good though as he takes a spot away from Bob Barnett.
Well, yet again, the 27 of Bob Barnett runs up front for so long and then just loses ground as the race goes along. He was side by side for the lead, and then all of a sudden, after the cars get lined out, he gets picked off one by one, and he's back to 5th.
Deason still leading last time. Around a 19.8 second lap time for your race leader in the 1D.
I'm still saying that 11 of Derek Brown has something to say before this one's all said and done. Midway through this 20-lap feature, and he has worked himself up to 2nd, trying to take that spot away from Toby Ott.
Started in 6th. The 27 and the 11 door handle to door handle, both chasing the 1D of Baltimore, Missouri's Daniel Deason. So we will begin lap number 11. Deason has been out in front for most of this one. But now Brown clear of your midseason points champ. And Shane, you said that the 11 was going to start making a move, and he does here more than midway through our 20-lap feature. He keeps around the bottom of the track. Deason drifts up in turn number 4, and there won't be but about 0.2 of a second difference between the number 1 and 2 cars on the racetrack as Brown continues to bottom feed, and Deason goes to the top as they cruise down the back straightaway.
How about a 1 second difference between 1st and 4th by the time it's all said and done?
Deason now sees the 11 in his rear view. Toby Ott still right there. Those cars running 1, 2, and 3 as Brown gets alongside the 1D and then gives up ground as they drag race down the back straight. It'll be 3 wide as they come through 3 and 4. As they come off of turn number 4, Deason just narrowly maintains the race lead. Brown through the middle of the track, and Toby Ott now around the bottom. He and Deason side by side on the entry of turn number 3.
And Toby Ott is about as patient of a driver as it gets. He has held his line the entire time. He waited for Derek Brown. Mistake. Both Brown and Deason drifted high on the track, and Toby Ott has taken advantage.
Toby Ott takes over the lead at lap number 15. Ott back to the bottom of the track. Deason runs the middle line. Brown at the bottom of the as well. And here comes Johnny Coate.
Now, where did he come from?
Out of nowhere. Joplin, Missouri's Johnny Coates now throwing his hat into the ring as he gets up into a top 5 spot, with Toby Ott continuing to lead now halfway around here in lap number 16. So Ott, Deason, Brown, Coates, James Flood 1 through 5. Bob Barnett, who started on the front row, all the way back to number 6 now, and a big gap between he and Flood running 5th. Get into lap traffic now as your race leader. Toby Ott clears the 44. Daniel Deason now will try and get around lap traffic, as well as Coates is side by side with Brown. Johnny Coates just flying around the diamond of dirt tracks now. He's side by side with Brown and has Deason just 2 car lengths in front of him. But all the while, Shane, this great battle for second place, and Toby Ott starting to check out as the white flag flies. Ott with a 1.5 second advantage on the rest of the field, and it's a 3-car battle for second, with James Flood dropping back behind them here. Deason in second. Coates, who started all the way back in the field. And it's going to be Toby Ott running underneath the checkered flag for the 3rd win of the season here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Chase Jones was bad fast, and Peyton Phillips has been extremely hot all season long. Your midseason points leader will lead him across the line from the outside. Groove will take the green flag first. Fly off of turn 2 as they are stacked up 3 wide back behind him. And how about Justin Johnson? Look at that move as he dive bombs down to the low side. He will pull up dead even off of turn 4, but Peyton Phillips will lead him across the line first time around.
Didn't he tell us it was his first race of the year? And now Chase Jones spins in turn 2, gets some sheet metal damage on the back of that 7, and that brand
with Johnson and Johnson. The pharmaceutical company starts on the inside as well. And again, as Peyton Phillips across the line first, Johnson will follow suit down to the inside. We haven't talked much about John Allen out in that 98 machine. He's only been out a couple times this season, and he is running in the top 5 as Lucas Gibbs makes some noise. He gets around the 7J. He's side by side with Peyton Phillips across the line. Uses that low line to try to get around the 98, but will fall back just a little bit as he has to lift off the accelerator first. He's stuck back in second with Johnson and Johnson back in 3rd and 4th.
And Gibbs let Peyton Phillips know he was there on the restart, Shane. He bumped him not once but twice to let him know he was ready to go, and he has gone to the bottom of the racetrack, and he and Phillips, running completely different lines, will have a run along with Justin Johnson, the top 3 in the running order, entering turns 3 and 4.
So 3 of the top 5 cars are names we don't see here on a regular basis. Peyton Phillips we do, the 98 still out in front. First timer in Justin Johnson, now side by side with him off of turn number 2. Johnson will have the momentum, get that white and green 7J out in front of the 98, slides right up in front of him, and off of turn 4, first lap he is led, completes lap number 5. Peyton Phillips drops back to second. Lucas Gibbs now way up on the top side, trying to find a run off of turn 2. Does not get that done as Matt Johnson takes that spot away. He's now in 3rd, looks for more to the inside of Peyton Phillips. 3 wide battle for second. Johnson had it at the line that time around Phillips. Now Lucas Gibbs tries to sneak inside the middle of that line with Johnson to the inside and Peyton Phillips to the outside.
Justin Johnson leading this race out of Olathe, Kansas. His first race of the year. What is he going to look like with 2 or 3 under his belt as he leads them around with a big advantage, 1.2 seconds over the 3 cars running behind him, and now it is a Johnson & Johnson run as the 7 and the 1X are leading the field, starting to pull away from your midseason points champ in the 98.
So Justin Johnson right now wants this one to stay green the entire 25 times around, as he has a good cushion over Matt Johnson, who is now back behind him 1.17 seconds, and then it seems like an eternity back to Peyton Phillips in the 98, who is now doing combat with Lucas Gibbs in the 51G, and now the caution will come out. And Johnson, who slows the field with 8 laps complete in this 25-lap feature. And how about that run by Matt Johnson off of turn 4? He will get a great run, but maybe a little too good as the yellow comes out.
Oh, no.
Race again, getting ready for our restart. Matt Johnson had a great restart last time. Justin Johnson's is a little bit better this time as he leads the field back to the green flag. Spanned out 3 wide back behind him. And how about John Allen working himself up to second? Oh, my. He was well back behind those front runners, and now all of a sudden he is a contender in this one as he is outside Matt Johnson and has second.
Peyton Phillips, Shane, was third on that restart, has fallen all the way back to 5th as he rides up around the cushion, trying that high line, hasn't got a real good run, and now starts getting that 98 going back the right direction as he'll chase Lucas Gibbs.
2 cars that are here at Lucas Oil Speedway for the first time this year are running in the top 3. Justin Johnson out in front of Matt Johnson, now John Allen up in the loose stuff over in turn 2. Falls back to 3rd as Matt Johnson continues to hug the inside and tries to find a way to catch back up with the 7J of Justin Johnson. Justin Johnson top side, Matt Johnson low side. Again, Matt Johnson won the 2017 Diamond Nationals back a couple years ago. And he will have half a second to make up on Justin Johnson, and he will take a big chunk of it over in turns 1 and 2 that time around. Get the cross flags as they pass by Bruce Cordy this time, and Matt Johnson gets another good run and will knife into that lead again.
Cut it down by another 1/10 of a second that time. As he continues to run there, Johnson & Johnson 1 and 2, and now Chase Domer trying to take a run at the 3rd spot, held by Josh Allen, who was like he was fired out of a cannon on that restart. A great run. And now the Nevada, Missouri native is side by side with the 98 as they enter 1 and 2. Domer stays on the bottom of the racetrack, gets a good run down the back straightaway now. But a big run for the 98 as he'll try it around the top through 3 and 4. See what a run he gets off 4. No, Domer takes over the 3rd spot.
Takes over 3rd, but then it was side by side back up at the front of the field between Johnson and Johnson. Justin with the advantage as Matt falls back in line. Maybe lets his tires cool off a little bit with 10 laps remaining. Make it 9 this time around. Now Domer, after he finally gets around the 98 of John Allen, gets a little bit of breathing room. Lucas Gibbs now looks at the back end of the white number 98 as he is in 5th. But all the action now is up front. This is going to be a show between the top 2 cars as they have about a 3.5 second lead over the 3rd place car. Matt Johnson looks to the inside. Justin Johnson holds that line. He has not budged from what he's done. Now Matt Johnson will look to make a different line. He had been running inside the entire race. He goes top shelf, gets a great run off of turn 4, pulls up right on the back bumper of Justin Johnson. He may have found something, Corey, as Matt Johnson starts to work that high line a little bit more. Lap after lap, he gets a great run over here in 3 and 4. Watch him just suck up on the back end of that 7J off of turn 4. Gets right back on his back bumper and has to actually tap the brake before it hits the back of the 7J. He will look to do that again over in 3 and 4, and that might be his ticket to get around that top car.
They're going to have 5 laps to hash this one out. but they're also going to have to start dealing with lap traffic as well, as Jim Sykes Jr. is in front of the two cars that have been pulling the field around behind them most of this 25-lap features. Matt Johnson gets his nose right below the 7J. He's been running around the top of the track. Now he goes to the bottom here, and it looks like he may give up a little bit here this time around, Shane, to Justin Johnson.
You know, the lap traffic up in front of him is what is going to cause the problem if he tries to do that high line move off of turns 3 and 4. Don't be surprised to see him go high next time he gets an opportunity and then dive to the inside off of turn 4. That might be Matt Johnson's only opportunity to get around Justin Johnson out in front. With 3 laps left, they do now dispose of the lap traffic. Now it's a clear straightaway in front of him as Matt Johnson peeks to the inside. It'll be 2 times around this go.
It'll be all academic, but Robbie Reed has driven that race car like he's on a rail. He's picked up 9 spots since starting 14th. He's now a top 5 car.
Now a fight for the lead. Matt Johnson will get inside the 7J. Side by side in 3 and 4, white flag in hand as they have 1 more circuit around, 4 more left-hand turns. Justin Johnson cuts off the nose of Matt Johnson. Johnson doesn't let him take his real estate away. He has the front nose right inside the door of the 7J of Justin Johnson. Does he have enough off of turn 4? Side by side, Matt Johnson, a last lap pass, will take the double checkers away from Justin Johnson.
The late models let loose as we go 20 times around for this one. The hammer down for the hammer Cole Henson, and Larry Ferris will run it through the middle of 1 and 2. The 7 gets a little squirrely, and now there'll be 4 across down the back stretch, as Larry Ferris will try to lead the field around for lap number 1, and he does so. Cole Henson was the big mover in his heat race win, picking up a number of spots. He pulls right up to the back bumper of the 51. Ferris dives to the bottom of the racetrack as here comes the flash, Johnny Fennewald, as he gets right up behind the 31 of Cole Henson. Then it's Caden Cornell back to Aaron Morant. And the 15E of Aurora, Missouri, Shane Essery. And Shane, it's starting to look like that heat race did. Ferris gets a little bit of breathing room, and he starts to blow by the rest of the cars.
Yeah, if he's able to pick the line that he wants and has nobody in front of him, it's going to be tough for anyone to keep up with him. Johnny Fennewald will look to the high side of the hammer Cole Henson, and we know Henson's been fast. He's led a number of laps here this season at Lucas Oil Speedway, but Johnny Fennewald, a 2-time champ here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks, may have something to say about that.
The kid from Willard, Caden Cornell, looking for a line that works for the Hoover Motorsports entry with the 5-0 on the side. Aaron Morant back behind him. Then Shane Essery running 1 through 6 here as we begin lap number 5, and so far it's been all about Larry Ferris. But now the 21 of Johnny Fennewald finds its way into second to the back of the pack. Larry Ferris will try and keep his lead on the field here as he gets a great restart with the green flag up. Johnny Fennewald will flash to the top of the racetrack yet again and chase Ferris down the back straightaway. Cole Henson in third, and then Essery into the wall in turn number 3. The 15 years he has been in the lead from the jump, and that 51 fires down the front straightaway. The flash of Johnny Fennewald back to the top of the racetrack, and Cole Henson rounds out your top 3 as they are all nose to tail through the first 7 positions on the pylon. Fennewald around the cushion, tries to get a run off of turn number 4, but Ferris starts to pull away again, already with a half-second advantage on the driver from Appleton City. Fennewald running the high line, Henson around the bottom of the racetrack. This time they'll both go to the middle through 3 and 4. Henson starting to inch closer to Johnny Fennewald, and Fennewald cut a couple tenths of a second off of Larry Ferris's lead the last time around. Shane, this time the 51 not able to run away the way he has the first 5 laps.
Yeah, the track, I think, is starting to come in the way Johnny Fennewald likes it. He is starting to inch up closer and closer, working that high line, and Larry Ferris has stayed down on the low end of the track the entire race, and I think Fennewald, his car is finally starting to come to him.
Fennewald around the top will fire off a turn number 4, and he was trying to take the lead as the caution flag comes out. See what kind of speed the 51 finds on this green flag restart as we begin lap number 9 of 20, trying to get to the midway point here in this late model feature. Third of 4 here tonight as the B-Mods will wrap things up after this one concludes. Ferris fires through turn number 4. Fennewald right behind him. So is the Hammer Cole Hinson. Caden Cornell takes that white 5-0 to the bottom of the racetrack, gives up a ground to Hinson as they work their way down the back chute.
And there's your first change for Ferris right there. He was a little bit lower in 3 and 4, and now he's middle of the track over on that end, and that is starting to take the 21's line away just a little.
Fennewald back to the top of the track between 1 and 2, and he holds that line and then dive bombs to the bottom of the racetrack to the underneath of the 51. Fennewald slides up. No contact made as he drops right in behind your race leader, Larry Ferris. Ferris with fierce competition from the 21. Only a car length separates the 51 and the 21 as they enter turn number 3. Hinson at the bottom of the track in the 3rd position. And sliding around the top of the track is Willard, Missouri's Caden Cornell. Now Fennewald to the bottom of the track as Ferris holds the middle line here. And Shane, I don't think the 51's the only one fishing, as now Fennewald looking for a line that he can hold to try and take the race lead away from Larry Ferris, now 13 laps in.
Now, I think you're at a point now where it's a situation of who's going to make a mistake first. If both those 51 and the 21 cars keep running the laps they are, it's going to finish just like this. I think it's more along the lines of who's going to make a mistake first.
The top 4 drivers have stayed in line. Ferris, Fennewald, Hinson, Caden Cornell, and for that matter, Aaron Morant, who's a ways back in 5th position. Ferris and Fennewald in the middle of 3 and 4 now. Fennewald at the bottom. He drifts up the track, drops in line again behind the 51. A couple of veteran drivers, a couple of pros. Nobody's making contact, keeping it clean here as we've got 5 laps to go. Now, Bob Cummings is going to be the first one to go a lap down as another car goes to the infield. Ferris and Fennewald clear the 6 of the Bob's Auto Shack ride. Hinson around him as well. And Caden Cornell will slide to the top of the racetrack to try and clear lap traffic as they enter 3 and 4. Fennewald to the bottom of the racetrack now, slides up in front of Ferris. Ferris side by side with him, and Fennewald will lead for the first time as we start lap number 17. Ferris slides up the track. Fennewald tries to give him room, and the flash fires down the back straightaway. Ferris tries to give him the same treatment that he got in turn number 4, but Johnny Fennewald will now get 3 car lengths clear of Larry Ferris with 2 laps to go.
He gone.
They don't call him the Flash for nothing. Johnny Fennewald finally takes the top spot away from Larry Ferris. The white flag goes up for Fennewald. Ferris had battled lap after lap after lap to try and keep everybody in his rear view mirror. But now, in turn number 4 a lap ago, Fennewald was able to best him, and Fennewald will finish with a top spot, fist in the air for the Flash as he gets his 3rd race win of the season here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks.
Bruce Cordy has the green flag in hand. Dayton Pursley pushes down on the loud pedal and will bring the field to life for our final feature of the evening Here in Week 8 of the Big Adventure RV Weekly Racing Series, Chris Jackson looks to dispose of those top 2 cars in short order. He will take Dayton Pursley to task in turn 3, get around him to move up to second. So Mark Long will lead the field off of turn 4 as they're 3 wide for third. J.C. Morton, top shelf. Dayton Pursley down to the inside, and Robbie Ewing will get shuffled back to 5th in all of that exchange as J.C. Morton rides the top shelf and will work himself up to 3rd as it's side by side out front. Mark Long with just a nose out in front of Chris Jackson.
Jackson has won 12 times this year at a variety of racetracks, and he has won here his fair share, and they are going to be 3 across as Jackson pulls away from Long and Morton rides around the top of the racetrack. That Wilson Logistics number 30, Shane, was a big mover early on in the heat race, but he is sandwiched between 2 of the biggest names in this class, in Chris Jackson and J.C. Morton.
A 3-time winner out in front, a 2-time winner back in 3rd, and Mark Long, who you saw sparks come off the wall. 17 remain, and J.C. Morton will follow suit right behind the 65 and try to find a way to get around your point leader, both here at the track and in the nation, in this USRA mod division. Stacked and packed, 3 wide back behind them. Kenton Allen goes from 5th to 3rd in 1 lap around. Dayton Pursley falls back to 4th. Then 2 red and white cars stacked up side by side, trying to find a way to get around the 10P of Pursley. It is Ewing to the outside, Mitchell Franklin to the inside. Then coming out of nowhere, here's the 00 of Taylor Moore. He will get into the mix as well, as that is a 4-car battle for 4th.
Mark Long makes it 3 wide entering turn number 1, along with Robert Heidenreich, Quentin Taylor. There is a clump of 6 cars there, all battling for position, as we've got a car looped in between 1 and 2.
Pace this time before Chris Jackson hits the go button. J.C. Morton will stay right with him this time as they are single file all the way 1 through 8 before they finally start to spread out deeper in the field. That's where Robert Heidenreich will go to the outside. Now it's 3 wide, back for 5th. Mitchell Franklin to the inside of Dayton Pursley. Taylor Moore goes to the outside. He will take a spot away from Mitchell Franklin's. He's up to 5th. As it's side by side now for 3rd, Robbie Ewing with a good run. He is trying to find a way to get around the inside of Kenton Allen in the 98K. Will have to fall back in line right behind that 98. Now he'll go to the middle of the track, and the yellow flag comes out again. And will have to be at the ready, as this time it's a little slower start, and J.C. Morton was at the ready. He is right there with Chris Jackson on the restart, then a little bit more of a gap back to Kenton Allen in 3rd. It's Chris Jackson to the inside and J.C. Morton, who likes to ride that high line, tries to find a little bit of a bite off of the turns. He will go up top shelf again, and Kenton Allen will follow suit as he tries to drift high on the track. Robbie Ewing peeks to his inside. That's a fight for 3rd. So the first 2 cars now with a little bit of gap in between them. Now Robbie Ewing will get to the inside of Kenton Allen. Has a nose out in front over in turn 3. Taylor Moore, who was up top, now goes to the inside. He sees what Robbie Ewing is able to do, likes what he sees out of the 32, and looks to do the same thing.
Robbie Ewing, a 3-time winner at Dallas County, still looking for his first win of the season here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks, but may finally be able to get around that 98 out of Kansas. Now Taylor Moore, who was riding around the top of the racetrack, Shane, has dropped in behind the 32. Now he'll go ahead and put his nose on the back bumper of Allen's car.
Good opportunity now for Mitchell Franklin to do what you were talking about earlier with Dayton Pursley, watching those top 2 cars. Now you got Mitchell Franklin, who sees 3 cars out in front of him that all have had success this season, as another back bumper of Chris Jackson. Even a better start this time for J.C. Morton. Continues to stay right with your race leader in Chris Jackson. Off into turn 1, nose to tail the top 4 cars. Taylor Moore was the first one to fall out of line. He goes topside this time as he finds a way to get around Kenton Allen for 4th. Robbie Ewing would be the next to fall by the wayside, but another spin. This time it is the 21.
Between Franklin Pursley and Austin Joplin there, running 6, 7, 8.
Green flag in the air again, and the field will come to life, approaching the midway point. Taking us a little while to get there in this Ozark Golf Cars USRA B Mod division. As Chris Jackson out in front, and as we say that about Dayton Pursley, he slows on the backstretch. That was bad from the get-go over in turn 2, and the youngster from Skyline High School will get to the infield and wisely get off the racing surface as something is broken on his car. Keeps the green flag out, and Wesley Briggs again will go around, this time over in turn 2. If we could just cut off that end of the track tonight, just who would you want him on?
No different than me. You don't want me on any of them either.
He would have been the anchor, that's for sure. as Chris Jackson leads him off into turn 1 again, midway through this 20-lap feature. 10 laps down, 10 laps remain, and Chris Jackson off to a good start again. Does J.C. Morton or anybody in the field have anything left in the tank to catch up with the 65 of Chris Jackson? That time across almost a full second advantage, 1 lap in after the restart. J.C. Morton in second, Robbie Ewing and Taylor Moore back behind him. The 00 of Taylor Moore looks middle of the track, tries to find a way to get around the 32, and he'll draw up a side as Heidenreich gets around on the high side, takes away a couple of positions as he is in a backup car in that 134 ride. Announced on Facebook that he thought his season was done. They pull the backup car out, and he has found a way to stay in this race in a backup car. And a tough break for the 98 of Kenton Allen. He got all the way up in the loose stuff, slapped the wall with a tank slapper over in turn 4, so a good night has turned into a very mediocre night for the 98 machine as he was running top 5, and now he is struggling just to stay in the top 10.
He was a top 3 car for most of the first 10 laps, Shane, until he came into contact with the wall and now tries to battle around Mark Long and turn his attention to Hollywood Robert Heidenreich as he starts to march back toward the front.
So Taylor Moore has gotten around Robbie Ewing. He drops third in line now. That completes lap 15. 5 more remain. Nobody's got anything for Chris Jackson right now. He is off to the races. Now Taylor Moore and J.C. Morton, a battle for second, with Morton just to the lower groove of Taylor Moore.
Put on a show each and every week.
Yet again, J.C. Morton is just beating his head against the steering wheel trying to figure out, what do I have to do to get around this 65? I think every B-Mod driver on the series is thinking that. And whenever Chris Jackson is out in front, his car becomes 5 lanes wide. You just can't find a way to get around it. And again, with the green in the air, he is off to the races and well out in front of J.C. Morton with Taylor Moore back in third.
And he told you in the pits a couple of weeks ago, Shane, and he meant it sincerely. It's not arrogance, but he's been doing this so long, and the car is so good, they've got to set up for every track. They know when they get the car off the trailer, if nothing breaks, they've got a top 5 car when they pull it out of the pits. And he's shown that everywhere he goes. He's shown it every Saturday night here, and he's now a second to probably a second and a half ahead of J.C. Morton again here as they clumb around for lap 18.
And you tell me, last time you can remember him tearing that car up, him getting involved in something. He is able to keep it straight. Of course, whenever you're out in front, it makes it a lot easier. And as he will head off of turn 4, he will see the white flag fly by Bruce Cordy, and he will have one more time around here in this Ozark Golf Cars USRA B-Mod division. He will look to pick up the win again for the 4th time off of turn 4. No real contest as he'll see the checkered flag. A good fight for second coming up as Chris Jackson will take home the win. J.C. Morton holds on to second.